distractions. And I'll go first. Intentions for this call, I want to see what Vitor is working on. I'd like to just discuss the feedback that Mount Manu got on the Commons config dashboard. Maybe look at the designs and discuss what's next. Distractions, I'm in a forest right now, camping. And that's it. I'll give it to Mount Manu.
Thanks, Mitch. Intentions, trying to see how helpful the feedback was so that I can adapt or use that to craft better questions for the Google form for the next round of feedback on the Python model, and see what you guys are up to. I haven't been much active here. I want to, so I'm learning the code, and I want to, see what's under the hood. And distractions, gas is $13. That's distracting as fuck. And that's it. I'll pass it to Nuken.
Hey, yeah, mainly just intentions, catch up on the feedback, see how that is going, and distractions, not really. And I'll pass it to Septimus.
Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, my intention is to sing with you guys. Like when the params are ready, I wanna be like the first ones testing it and keep learning. I don't have any distraction. I'll pass it to Vitor.
Yeah, my intentions are to show up the Python work and check out the feedback mainly. And I have no distractions. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Do you want to take it away, Vitor?
Yeah, sure. Let me think. We can pass through the Python work and the Figma. So I think probably you guys did not see the changes in Figma. And then I think we can open for feedbacks. Does this sound good for you guys?
Yep.
So basically, I'm showing the screen. Let me know if you can see. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, looks great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, second a little to load. But basically, okay, let's go to the UI first. Like this is I think they did that to test the token freeze and token thaw first, right? So basically, here we have 3 inputs. So like opening price, that will define basically the price for the beginning, and that and then token freeze, that's the period in which we'll keep the same, and then the token thaw is the period in which it would take from the price floor to 0, so it's linear. And so ideally, like you would be able to just drag and drop, like drag your like the period here that you want to like the amount of weeks that you want to the price floor go to 0, and then if you drag this one, it will change the token thaw. And then if you change this one, you would change both like token freeze and token thaw, because it would change the time from like in which the price floor is the maximum, then you decrease the time in which is decreasing. So, and then you have like the just a simple table showing up things. And then like from that, we have this a real implementation of it, which is pretty simple actually. But here in the commons -config -Heroku, then here it's like pretty much the same. So not fancy, but it's the same. Like the price floor, then it drops and goes to 0, and then you can play with it. So like here we have a slider for the opening price, and right now it's limited to 5, but then you can play with it, and it changes in real time. And then you can change as well token freeze period and token thaw period. Here you cannot drag, but you will be able to. So it'd be nice to have some feedback to check out if like this is working properly and if there's no bug, because like the model behind it will be used in the front end. And have other ones here, but this one is not finished yet for this bit of conviction voting. I think you can change good things here, and it will change. But anyway, this is not the scope. So I think the focus should be the token-free second thought, and then like, yeah, I think that's it. You can, comments. And yeah, do you guys have any feedback? And you have also the event section, but I think this is the most important part, right? Do you guys have any specific feedback regarding these token-free second thought?
I left
think it
a
looks
bunch
awesome.
of comments. Go ahead, Nugget.
No, I think it looks awesome. I just want to say I think it's amazing how just some tiny little details make it look so much cooler. But yeah, that was it.
I left a bunch of comments this morning in the Figma. Just some basic stuff like decluttering the Y and X axis with all this text.
Oh,
Maybe
here,
making a table. Yeah, because you can just write time
add like
and
time
weeks
weeks
and then get rid of all the extra text there. The table, like the table text, can pop a little bit more because I feel like it's a little bit hard to read, or at least it was on my screen.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
No, I'd say like if you cannot see the division here, probably like if it's a bigger table, it would be hard to read as well.
Yeah, and my other thing is that it would be cool for each input field that's selected, it would highlight the part of the graph that you're changing, so that people would be able to see visually how it corresponds to the parts of the graph that you can drag. So just each of those little square bullets, one of them would light up depending on which input you have selected.
You mean if you click here, you would light up
like there, like if you're in token freeze, then that second bullet there would light up, and then people would know that it corresponds to which part.
Makes sense.
Anyway,
the only point is that like the token tall, like if you change the, makes sense.
Yeah, the token thaw would be the third one.
Yeah, but like if you change token freeze, you change token thaw.
Right. But at least then it is a little bit more intuitive to like which part of the graph, because if you want to make each part draggable, then anyway, I wrote it all in the Figma, and then, hopefully Mark will figure something out.
Yeah, awesome.
I might be wrong, but how I see this graphic, like if you wanna, I don't know, make the token freeze 20 weeks and let the tokens out the same, you wouldn't be affecting like the curve, but just making like the token freeze longer, and the same for the token saw.
We can do this here. Like you mean if you change which one? Like if you
like
freeze the token.
You like make the token freeze period longer. Yeah, 20 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, and
like you're just offsetting.
Okay, and the
and then if you change token thaw, so you're right. Like
you make
if
it
you change one, you change only one.
Yeah, thank you.
Like this is the nice part of this, because you can play with it and check out like how this will actually work. And if there's something that we think that is not intuitive here, we can just change in the model as well.
It's cool.
Anyone else? Some feedbacks regarding that? Like, I saw that Mandy sent a lot of like feedbacks regarding this part, but I'm not sure. Like, did you added these comments to Figma, or like because like I'm doing most the Python work, not the design itself. Sorry.
No, I think it was mainly for the other part, for like the explanations, and some people might have commented on it, but I haven't specifically started or gotten any feedback. I've started, but I haven't gotten people to comment on this particular graph yet.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it would be nice to, like, when you're doing like user tests for this, show them like together, because like if people like show the Figma prototype, so like you show them and explain everything, and then like people can just play with it to just get sure that it will be intuitive enough, like for them to play with and understand like what happens. So I think you can like bundle them together, and then like show that like if you like in the final version, we'll be able just to drag it. But here, we are not doing that.
Got it. Yeah, noted.
Yeah. And yeah. Megan, do you have some comments? Like, I mean, I'm sure if there's anything else.
Yeah, I like how it looks. I would have to kind of check it more in detail, but I think I like it. I think it's great, and I think it's really important, like you said, that both things get shown together, at least to kind of get the chance to play it. I also, maybe if we have time, would show what the bonding curve.
Oh yeah.
So maybe yes, I made the PR yesterday, tagged you for review. So
yeah.
Maybe we can also, if everything's okay, maybe we can also put it into the comments page, on the server, so people can also play a bit around with that.
Yeah,
even if it's
I want to
not
see that.
polished as your stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I have to review it. I can review it today and Nether as well. But if you want to show off and like show and tell it, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, I show it.
Because like I had no time yet to review it, but I will do this today. But if you want to if you show it up,
Yeah,
I think
sure.
it's better for like having an
Okay.
intro.
This is so exciting.
Okay, can you see the stream?
Yeah.
Great. So this is it. It's a bit rough, but the basic things are there. This is the curve. It shows the price and the balance, like we said last Sunday in the hack session. And you can choose how much goes to the comments pool, and that changes the form of the curve. Also, you can say the initial price, something between 1 and 4, which also kind of gives you the feedback directly. Specify tributes, entry and exit. If you see the curve stays the same, but the points move. And right now I only have 2 scenarios made, big buy and big sell, which are these 2. Obviously the goal would be to let the user build his own scenario. That would be the next step, and also make it prettier. Now with these lines here, which was the fastest way to show it, I try to write below and above to make it a bit more readable. That's not really, but just to get the idea and show it's working. Also, I have to show the table below, which kind of gives the details. If the table is ready, it just needs to kind of get passed on to the interface and maybe just a bit of cleanup in the format. I can show it. Do you see if I open the terminal or not?
If you open the terminal, we can't see it.
Okay.
Just one comment before you do that. Like you have
Yes.
those vertical lines, and then the first one is initial state.
Yes, initial
So it's
state,
like
and then
the initial price, and then the first step, like in this scenario, like first steps, like you do someone buys, and then the
exactly. It's right now it's 3 steps. It's in the big buy, it's a small sell, a big buy, and then a small sell again. And the big sell is small buy, big sell, and buy again.
Nice.
And yeah, you can check here, for example, 25. The funding pool is right now set at 100,000 because it will be a fixed number when the hedge finishes. And you can see it's like here it's 75 and shows the price, which is 125. So yeah, I'll go through the numbers again when it's finished. When it's finished. But I think they look okay right now. Like I've been checking them. And
are you going to add in an option for reserve balance so that we can look at certain tranches of the curve?
This is showing the reserve balance right now.
Okay. Yeah.
It was supply, but I changed it yesterday because we said it was more intuitive. So right now it's using the balance.
Right. Okay. And then, like, say if we wanted to look at the balance at 3 million or at 10 million or 500,000, we'll be able to select that.
Tokens, you mean? At a supply of
Like
3
the
million
supply,
tokens.
yeah, because like on the original design, it's like we have to specify what the reserve balance is, and then it zooms in to that part of the curve, and then
Yes.
we can start adding points from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the function is nearly the same. In the code, I have the two options to draw it with the supply on the x-axis or the balance. So we could make it just put in a switch and show one or the other. That could be made definitely. Yeah, the design gave the chance to put in different initial balances, but in the end, we are going to use the one in the hatch. So I'm not sure if the user is going to be able to choose different initial balances, because
Okay, so then you
Really
guys
takes-
decided to veto the reserve balance selector. So you're just going to use it starting at the hatch, at the target goal.
yes, I was thinking that. I mean, what we can do is, yeah, that would be possible. Just the what you said with the zoom in part. Like we initialize the curve with actual hatch data, and then let the user move up or down. That
You would
could
just
be
need an option that would just be target goal. Like one of the selector options would be target goal. So assuming that we get our target goal or whatever comes out of the hatch, because I'm assuming people are going to be testing this stuff before the hatch closes. Hopefully.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Then we can add a selector. Yes, of course. That's no problem.
Anyway, let's add it and see if there's more feedback from Marco and Griff who aren't in this call.
Yeah. Great. Definitely. But yeah, I can do that. That works out great. That shouldn't be that much work. And yeah, and mainly that's it for now. I have I opened some issues yesterday about the next steps, more to keep the track myself, but you can also log in and comment if you see that something is missing or whatever. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, that looks awesome. And I'll be able to review it today. Just one comment regarding the steps. I think they make a lot of sense. Just like by if people look at this right now, like they will not be able to check out like if these steps are buys or sell. So like I think in the big buy you're like doing buy and sell, because I think step 3 was like you cannot like you can just like maybe not sure like it's not that clear that you're saying like it's not that clear what each step is. Like if you check out, you can understand that if it moves to the right, it's a buy, and if it moves to the left, it's a sell. But I think you can not sure like I'm not sure if in the table you're saying that. If in the table you state it and say like, oh, in the step 1 I buy that much, and in step 2 I sell that much, and so or so on. I think if you state this in the table, like below it, I think it's okay.
Yeah, and the table shows how much the amount that goes in and the amount that goes out.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, in the same position. So just a checking. So following that, I'll show off my part as well. So because these two are the two lifting parts. So the augmented bonding curve and the convection voting. So let me show the convection voting. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So basically from the design, like this part is not done yet, but like ideally we would have 3 graphs. Like this is sort of the same for as from the common simulator. There's basically like what happens if you stake in a proposal, and this is like the conviction percentage that growth, and then like how many days it takes to have like almost 100%, and then like if you unstake it, like how long it takes to go to 0. So like here I stake to a proposal, then my conviction grows, and then like after like 90 days I just unstake it, and then my conviction does not go to 0 instantly, it decreases in that rate. And then you can choose like the half-life that you can call conviction growth. And then this is in here. So here it's basically that you can ignore this chart, this slider, and this slider. This here is conviction growth, but actually is half-life in days. So basically, how many days does it take to if I stake in a proposal, how many days does it take to have 50% of conviction? So for example, here and here I'm staking for 5 times the half-life. So here I have like 4 days of half-life, and I'm staking for 20 days, and then I'm staking and showing what happens for the next 5 times the half-life. So basically, if I increase the half-life for like 10, for example, it will take it will take like now it will take 50 days. So I have like 96%, like close to 100 conviction. And then if I unstake it, it would like after more 50 days, I will have still like 3% of conviction. So here you can check out like what's the difference of the half-life. And it's nice that we have the same x-axis, because then you can compare different proposals. So for example, if you want to have like, if you want to make more harder to proposals to pass, and like you gotta like not be so instant, you can increase your half-life for like this much, and then it will take really like 15, for example, and then it will take really longer, like to have like close to 90, close to 100, take like 75 days. Or you can have a commons where like proposals can pass really quick, and have like 2 days of half-life, for example, and then it's pretty quick. Then it's pretty quick. But then like that's a trade-off. If it's really quick, it will decay quicker. And that's it for this chart. And then this one is tricky, because does anyone has any comment regarding this one first?
I think it looks great. This one seems like the easiest one, because you guys already did it in the common simulator.
Yeah, it's an easy one. Okay. And the second one, it's a little bit trickier, and I was talking to Griff about it, because like this one is like on the x-axis you have like the time, and then on the y-axis it's like given the total effective supply that we have, like the total voting power that we have at any given time, how much percentage do I need to pass a penny? Like if I request a penny, like I request zero, close to zero, $1, and then like even if I request $1 and I stake all my conviction there, like that I have, imagine I have like 10% of the whole conviction, I cannot pass it in one day. So like this is to illustrate like even if you ask really little amount of money, you need to wait for it to pass. So given that, like this chart shows this, but then like we're showing only the 2% of the effective supply, because we think that doesn't make sense to show more, because it's really harder to one person have like more than 2% of the total effective supply. And then here, if you change, for example, the half-life and then the like minimum conviction required to pass something, it will slightly change, like it's updating, but like how I think too many people are using. Yeah, it will slightly change it. So like even here, if I say that the half-life is like let's say 20 days, and then the minimum conviction that I need to pass something is like 1%, then like I see that to change. Then if I want to pass one, the threshold is like 1%. If I want to pass something in the day one, I would need yet like 1% of the total supply, even if I ask like $1. So this is more to illustrate that. But we're thinking that like this doesn't change much, because the curve for conviction that you need to threshold doesn't change much at the lower tail. So like if you're asking like a penny, or if you're asking like $1,000, because this is like relative to the total defining pool. So like if you're asking like 0.001 or percent, or like 1%, the conviction required is really similar. So when you're in this lower part, it doesn't make much difference. So this chart doesn't change much. So that's the issue that you're seeing right now. Is it clear to you guys? Like, does it make sense?
I mean, I get it, but it's just like such a nuanced graph. And looking at it now, I wonder because I was kind of following your discussion that you guys had on Sunday, and if we could just take this one and integrate it with the other one that comes after this, because it just seems like it'll create more questions than it answers.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, and I think that's the process, right? Like when you iterate through, like you have some things in mind, and then when we model it, we see that they are not as intuitive as we want. And then the final one is like we have on the x-axis the percentage of the common pool funds, and then on the y-axis we have the percentage of the tokens currently voting on proposals. So, for example, here we have like if we change the minimum, the half-life, and then the minimum conviction that we want to like 2.5%, then like the minimum that we need to pass will be like 1%. So like we need at least 1% of the total votings to pass, and then like even if we request like 0, that was the point here. Like even if we request 0, like in that case you needed like 1% or something to pass a proposal, and then this is like that. Like if I ask like 8% of the funding of the commons pool, I need like 80% of the total conviction. So like it goes such as if I request close to the total amount of the commons pool, you need like infinite conviction to pass. So like it shows that if I'm asking here like a penny or $1,000, given that the commons pool is big enough, it almost doesn't change the amount of convictions that I need to pass. But if I require a really huge one, it requires a lot, like really insane amount of conviction to pass. And I think the takeaway from that is that like this basically forces the commons. Like if you think in the higher level, like this kind of forces the commons to distribute the funds more equally, because like if you want a really big one, there's like has way more funds than the other proposals, like it probably will not pass. So that's the idea. And then the relative spending limits that you can like you can define a limit. Like say that the relative spending limit is like 5%, then you cannot like ask more than that. So then like even if you're like here we're like soft limiting huge proposals, but then here we're like hard limiting and say like even if you have like that much if you have like, all the conviction that is possible, you cannot request more than 5%. So yeah, that's the idea. And here you could like see different scenarios for like different conviction in like different time frames, but this is not implemented yet.
So shouldn't it actually go up and become the asymptote, like at the relative spending limit?
Yeah, it should.
Relative spending limit.
Yeah, it should. Sorry, because like this, I'm just not updating this, but yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Okay. Because the top of the graph should be almost parallel.
Yeah, it should. Like, yeah. It's just because like I just need to implement that. This is a work in progress. It's not finished yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea is that it should be like I'm not like fitting it, but yeah, the idea is that it will be like close to here.
Okay, and then when we're setting the minimum conviction, we're effectively setting where the line starts on the y-axis on the left-hand side.
Yeah, they would. It's updating. But
so when the user, if we get rid of the second graph, the user will at least be able to have some feedback by changing the minimum conviction on this third graph.
Yeah. Sorry,
we'll be able to see how it changes.
Yeah, this line is not updated by the inputs, and that's why it's happening for the minimum the relative spending, just the half-life, and I need to update that. But yeah, it's simple updating. But yeah, you're right.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that given that we can like eliminate this one because it already tells it, right? like the information here, basically, from this information you can have these, and I think is more like accurate. Second one, the last one. Does anyone has any comment in that?
Yeah, I feel like this third one was much easier to understand than the second one. Like the only one I didn't understood was the second one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty complex because like even this one, like this is not even the like total supply, total conviction. Sorry, this is the total conviction at any given time. And then if you check out this, like imagine that this like is the whole conviction. Like imagine that this is the like the whole conviction of the total commons. Like it's growing, so the even 100% of this is growing as well. So it's pretty complex. Yeah, I think this is like it's absolute. So when it's absolute values, you can understand way better.
Yeah, totally agree.
Cool. This looks amazing. Vitor, Nuggin, just really nice work, guys.
Yeah, and do you guys have any feedback on that? Like,
I'd like to see it when they're totally working and fixed. And I guess incorporating the tables in there, and I guess for the ABC for Nuggin, how we're gonna add that extra functionality, be able to adding and remove steps on the graph. And then I guess disputable voting. There's not really much changes that need to be made there, if I understood. Vitor.
on disputable voting?
Yeah, I think you've pretty much finished those, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can always like iterate in that, but yeah.
Any feedback? I see Chewy's here. Anything to add, Chewy?
Not really. I'm just getting. I wanted to be in this call to get a better sense of what you guys are working on, because I haven't been very active in params, and there's a lot going on. From what I saw and from what I know of about conviction voting, everything makes sense. And yeah, I agree, guys. Great work. And yeah, I'll be closer the next days, trying to follow up with this.
I think everything was clear, but it was clear because as you were moving on the different graphs and tinkering with them, you were explaining it. I think I am anticipating some feedback from the less technical users, which are our target audience, that they're going to want some sort of explanation that as they, move different parameters around, sort of like the question mark button that you see next to some websites or something where it's like something, and if you don't know, there's like a question mark. And I think we had that on a Figma where there was like a hatch, and if you scrolled over to that part, it gave an explanation of the hatch. And then you went to the comments upgrade and you gave an explanation of the comments upgrade. I'd say that would really help on, really showing people what it is, because it makes sense for us because we've been so involved with this for a while. You guys longer than me. But I think ideally people are gonna want to see how that translates to, as you move this, it's going to mean that the tokens are going to stay low, blah, blah. Does that?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just back end. So there's no front end, there's no design, there's no text on this stuff, but it's all been done. And then also in the discussion, we're going to have like quick 90-second video for each module. That's going to be exactly what you're saying, Manu.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
already calculated. Then it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we
think
just need to finish the modules to actually be able to make the video to show people, right? So
Yeah, I think
but at
the
least-
video helps a lot because then like it's more interactive and then people don't like. I think design is important, but like when you show up and show and tell, I think people understand better.
yeah.
Other
yeah,
than
exactly.
that, it's great work. Like it's very intuitive. Like graphically, it's even just back end. You know, like rough. It's awesome. I mean, great, really.
And maybe if there's nothing else to share with the back-end stuff, Vitor, we can segue into the typeform feedback.
Yeah, sure, you can.
Yeah, I just posted the typeform feedback that you sent, Manu, into a thread on the Params channel. And if there's any main points that you wanted to bring up from the feedback that you got here, we can open it up.
No other other than what was written, and I like that you kind of like digested it and just put a more concise part. I next time I'll do that. But other than what it says here, I didn't get much feedback from people other than it was great. It was intuitive. It worked, and yeah, most people just put their feedback in. And when I asked them personally, they were like, everything was great. I mean, like 95%. The remaining 5%, they just put it there on the feedback. So I think overall we're in great shape.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. A lot of the feedback was just like they needed more information, and hopefully all of that will be resolved by the forum posts, for suggested ranges, more like in-depth explanations. And then a lot of it is just making sure the prototypes link up to the right parts in Figma. But that's really good to hear that we seem to be on the right track.
Yeah, definitely. Design's beautiful, front end, and yeah, I think what people said is what I just mentioned on previously about having more information on the way things are. But you guys cleared that's part of the front end, and we're in back end right now. So we're on the same page.
Awesome. Well, does anyone have anything they need to talk about regarding the Commons config dashboard? Back end, front end, design, ideas, graphs, etc. Good. All right, I like it. It seems like we're on the right path. I don't have any more topics for params. If anyone else has anything they'd like to talk about, now's the time.
Yeah, something really quick. This might be tangentially relevant, but I got Lisa J. White Tan. She wrote Economics and Math of Token Engineering DeFi, a book that might become seminal as token engineering becomes a discipline that school software and whatnot. And I leveraged me translating the book into Spanish into saying under one condition that we put the augmented bonding curve, disputable conviction voting, and conviction voting on the book. And she asked like what types of copyrights and acknowledgement we're looking at. So I mean, everything's open source, but I want to ask you guys, like, how do we? This book is gonna come out like the first edition is already there. Second edition is gonna come out in December. And because we're doing something so pioneering, and she's trying to explain it, I thought about using us as kind of like the case study for her to explain some of the concepts that she's going through, using us as example. So I show her, some of what we're doing, the dashboard and whatnot, and I just wanted to bounce it up with you guys and see if you have any thoughts on that, or how do we approach that, and how do we get more visibility on TEC through that reference that she's gonna shout at us, that she's gonna give us.
I think that sounds great. It's a great idea. But maybe you should take that to legal. I guess they'll have a better idea about license and stuff. I guess most of the code will be MIT licensed, but I don't know about Texas. Maybe I think that's kind of the stuff that the guys at legal will be specialized in. I think maybe somebody has some other idea.
Yeah, you're right. Sounds like a legal topic. Mitch?
Yeah, I love it. I think that's great. And I spent a lot of time researching these topics, and I didn't find anything as digestible as the way that we've made it now. So I think if she's going to use any sort of source, it's going to be us, because we put in the work to really make this stuff digestible for non-technical users. In terms of content, I would look at the stuff that was written in the wireframes and as well as the forum. I feel like that's probably the most condensed information to look at. But then, in terms of like implementation, maybe that's a legal thing.
Got it. Cool. That's all I need to know. Thanks.
Anything else, guys, for parameters? We're missing Griff and Marco, so we're a bit limited. But I think we managed to cover a lot of really great stuff.